I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never sumo the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never sumo the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never sumo the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never sumo the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never sumo the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir.
Today's story is about a man many people didn't like. They called him a sinner, which is funny because aren't we all sinners? Don't we all make mistakes and do things we shouldn't? The story starts off with Jesus entering a place called Jericho. These days, Jesus has been going around telling parables and performing many miracles. The word was spreading about this man named Jesus and the amazing things he was doing and saying. So it was common when Jesus came to a place, people would rush to see him. Just imagine if a famous person came walking into your town or down your street. People would be telling their friends, and very quickly there would be a large crowd around them. This is how it was for Jesus. In this town that Jesus was entering lived a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector in this place and had lots of money. If you heard the word taxes before, it's probably not because people like them. Everyone that works pays taxes to the government or the people that run the city and country you live in. In some countries, taxes help pay for doctor visits or to make or fix roads, pay for parks, or help those who can't work. Taxes, for the most part, help us live better, so they are really good things. The problem is that sometimes, that includes the times in the Bible, people who got tax money didn't always spend it properly, or they took some of the money themselves, which is stealing. Back to the story. Zacchaeus had heard a commotion and soon realized that Jesus was in Jericho. So he rushed like everyone else to see him. When he got to the crowd, he couldn't see anything. He figured Jesus was in the middle of it somewhere, but standing on his tippy toes, he still couldn't see Jesus. You probably know what it's like to be shorter than all the adults around. Well, Zacchaeus wasn't very tall for a grown-up and couldn't ask someone to pick him up to see better. That would have been silly. So Zacchaeus saw a sycamore tree in the corner of his eye and decided to climb it so he could see Jesus. I just wonder if Zacchaeus thought it might be strange for a grown man to climb a tree, especially when he was an important man in the government. Whatever he thought, he did anyways, and didn't seem to care. So when Jesus reached the spot Zacchaeus was, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay in your house today." So he came right away and welcomed him gladly. This is so cool. First, Jesus knew Zacchaeus' name without asking him, and Jesus didn't care what other people thought about Zacchaeus and that they didn't like him. He still wanted to visit his house anyways. And thirdly, Jesus said that he must stay at his house today. This means that Jesus knew that God wanted him to go there, and Jesus obeyed. Jesus asked to go to Zacchaeus' house in front of everyone, and as soon as they heard this, they all started talking amongst themselves. They were shaking their heads and saying, "He has gone to be a guest of a sinner." Zacchaeus said to Jesus, "Look, Lord, here now I give half of my money to the poor, and if I have cheated or stole anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." The important part about this is that Zacchaeus had a change of heart. I don't know if he was already thinking about repaying people back, or he just knew what he should do when he saw and talked to Jesus. He also said that he would pay back people 4 times the amount. So if he owed someone $1, he would pay back 4 extra dollars. Zacchaeus didn't have to do this, but he wanted to make more things right. When Jesus heard this, he said, "Today, salvation has come into this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost." Jesus meant that he had forgiven his sins, and that even though people didn't think Zacchaeus was good, God loved him too and knew that his heart was good. Then the very last part, Jesus said that he came to seek and to save the lost. This was the whole point as to why God sent his son Jesus to come to earth, to find those who didn't know God and were lost, and to show them who God is so that they could live forever in heaven with him.
Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see. And as the Savior passed him by, he looked up in the tree, and he said, "Zacchaeus, you come down from there, for I'm going to your house today. For I'm going to your house today." Zacchaeus came down from the tree as happy as could be. He gave his money to the poor and said, "What a better man I'll be." A sinful heart was certainly changed when Jesus the Lord passed by. He wants to change your sinful heart to this truth you cannot deny. If you desire to see the Lord, the Bible tells the way. For it says, "Believe Christ died for you." He will come into your heart today. Yes, he'll come into your heart to stay.